This breakfast, it is 21 minutes past 7.
The markets on Dubai Eye 103.8.
With policybazaar.ae, save up to 30% on the best car insurance deals. Compare, buy, save. Only on policybazaar.ae.
Australian stock markets falling this morning in Sydney, down by almost 1% after Prime Minister Anthony Albanese returned to power. A lot of commentators saying this is quite significant. You've got a centre-left Prime Minister retaining power, just as it did in Canada about a week ago, in the face of the rise of the right and the MAGA movement. But we'll leave the politics to one side. We're focusing Australia because all the other Asian markets seem to be shut this morning. It is May Day bank holiday in Tokyo, in Hong Kong and in Shanghai.
Commodities.
With EGA, Emirates Global Aluminium, the heart of the aluminium sector, one of the UAE's most significant industries.
Right, we've got OPEC bringing more oil back in June. We have apparently Shell considering whether or not to make a bid for BP, which would be a massive takeover deal in the energy industry, while those shares are low. And where are we on the price this morning? We're in the red is where we are. Just over $56 a barrel for WTI. Brent just over 59.
This is the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye 103.8.
With policybazaar.ae. Health insurance? Find the best one for you on policybazaar.ae.
Now, we've been talking about the growing Dubai population this morning, and one of the places that they have been coming is the DIFC. I know because I've got a copy of the report. It is being released right about now, the 2024 numbers that the DFSA, the regulatory body, puts together every year. Very pleased to have in the studio the Chief Executive, Ian Johnson. Good morning, Ian. It's nice to see you.
Good morning, Brandy.
Do you want to run through those numbers with us? I don't want to steal your thunder because you have the inside track on the growth of financial services in Dubai.
Sure. 2024 was a big year in the DIFC. I know that you were talking earlier about the growth of Dubai and the number of people, but also the amount of business that's here. And the DIFC was certainly a big part of that. So last year was our busiest year ever in terms of the growth of the financial centre. 154 new licences that we issued. And that's just the financial services businesses. There are other companies, of course, that come into the DIFC, but the ones that we regulate, the financial services business, 154 new licences. That was our busiest year ever. 2023 had been our busiest year ever before that, and 2022 before that. So the place keeps setting new records in terms of the growth. But the important thing for us as a regulator is that the financial centre is also deepening. That means it's getting much, much more substantial. Banks' balance sheets are growing. The asset management firms that are there are finding their business is growing. And of course, with that comes the enforcement and other supervisory work that we have to do. So last year we had a good number of enforcement actions. So there were 8 major enforcement matters that we had to take on. In any financial centre, as it grows, you're going to have action that has to be taken, not just bringing firms in, not just helping them deepen their business, but you're going to have to take action if someone does the wrong thing. So it was a very busy year all round.
Okay, so there's a lot to dig into there. Let's start with where you have seen the biggest growth in the type of those financial firms that are coming in. Which sector has been the most active for you, and what does it tell us?
So there's a lot happening in wealth management. Dubai has become a place that wealth managers, hedge fund managers in particular over the past few years, we've seen not just opening up here, but actually relocating to here. So we've seen some hedge fund businesses that have moved from London. We've seen some that have moved from Hong Kong. Others who are expanding in here from New York, etc. So there's been big growth in asset management, wealth management, and hedge funds in particular. And then also in the insurance sector, where we've seen a lot of insurance intermediaries who are opening up in the DIFC. And it's become a major reinsurance hub globally.
I'm really interested in what you say about those that are relocating rather than just expanding or opening a new office, because there's a massive difference. For those who have packed up somewhere else and chosen to change where they are based, what are they telling you about why they're doing so?
So some of it goes back to how Dubai handled COVID. So it was the case back in those COVID years where Dubai was open at a time that other places were not. And so some of the UK firms, for example, might send part of their business here, do some trading from here, some portfolio management from here. because we were open, and you can see all of the world's markets, of course, at a certain time of the day from within this place. So they would come to the DIFC and run part of their business here, and then they said, you know what, this place is good to do business. They were finding they were getting some real traction at a time when other financial centres were still not fully open, so some of them took the decision to actually move across to the DIFC. Then what I would call the hub effect kicks in. Once you get some of the big ones here, you then get some of the sort of supporting infrastructure coming in. And so the hub effect kicked in. And when some of them came, the others said, well, we had better be in Dubai as well. So the DIFC really has benefited from that and become a major centre now for this.
All right. You also described the number of enforcement actions, the number of people you have to crack down on as a good number of enforcement actions, as though it's a positive.
Well, it is, because you need to have enforcement. If you're in a thriving financial centre, and whether it's New York, whether it's Singapore, London, Hong Kong, all of the regulators there have an eye to the enforcement action they need to take to protect investors, keep market integrity. And that's what actually the firms want. We recently did some stakeholder engagement work, a survey that was carried out for us independently. And the financial firms who are in the DIFC said, we want you to take enforcement action. We're here because it's a well-regulated place. But the amount of enforcement work we see is proportionate, no higher than you would see anywhere else, given the size of the place.
Are the things you're enforcing becoming more sophisticated as tech and indeed the companies themselves, crypto, etc., become more sophisticated? Yes,
definitely. I mean, much of the enforcement work we do is actually not against the firms that we regulate, but other businesses pretending that they're in the DIFC, pretending that they're regulated by the DFSA. So scams, in other words. And as you say, technology is making scams much, much easier to perpetrate. And for that reason, if people go onto our website, they'll have seen that over the past year, we would have published 30, maybe more, alerts to people to notify them about scams. So they are becoming much more sophisticated.
Right. And it is in the way of the surprise resignation of Warren Buffett, an exit interview for you of sorts, because you are stepping down from the top job at the DFSA again. Are you actually leaving this time, or is this another bluff?
Yes, I will be leaving. So I was here at the DFSA for 12 years before, from the early days of the DIFC. Absolutely loved the job. I said at another function last week that some of us are lucky enough to find ourselves in our ideal job. I've been lucky enough to find myself in it twice. I was there for 12 years, then went back to Australia for 4 years, but was asked to come back again in 2022 and be chief executive again, and I've enjoyed it very, very much. But it was always for one term that I came back, and so that term's coming to an end, and I shall leave the DFSA this time.
Like the American presidency, will they not let you run for another term, Ian?
No, it's not that. But that was always the agreement, that if I came back, it was always to come back for one term. Look, when I left last time, I was still doing work in this area, but on an advisory part-time basis for others, and hopefully I'll continue to do some of that type of work.
And what will you be doing next? What's the plan? So
I will stay around Dubai for at least for some time. And as I said, the sort of work I was doing last time was part-time, was advisory, some governance work on boards, etc. But still mainly in regulatory and compliance. In several countries, I was advising their regulators on things. And hopefully there'll be the opportunity to do that again. But I won't be working full-time anywhere.
What would you want your legacy to be from the DFSA? If people spoke about you, I've got about 40 seconds left with you, what would you want them to say?
Oh, look, it's quite simple. I think the DFSA is well positioned. I think your major job, or one of your major jobs as a chief executive, is to leave the place in better shape than you found it. I've hopefully managed to do that. I think the DFSA is regarded as a firm but fair regulator. I think we're seen as innovative throughout the region, and I'm happy if people remember the DFSA for that.
He says he's leaving, but the Australians have also just re-elected their Prime Minister, so who knows? We're into second acts this morning. Ian Johnson, it's been a delight, as always, to speak to you, and thank you for always making yourself so available to the Business Breakfast.
Thank you.
The outgoing CEO of the DFSA, Ian Johnson.
Your ARN News.
Good morning, I'm Serena Kelly.